Hello, it is I, Genesis Silver, and today I wanted to do a fairly serious video addressing JaidenAGK and Callum Anthony Hobson, otherwise known as Cal Spurk, or MythiDust, as he currently goes by. As there has been updates to everything that's been going on regarding both of which. First things first, I will state that JaidenAGK had reached out to me directly and let me know that he had cut ties with Calspurk entirely because of what had happened with him, and he did not want to have to go through that anymore. So, as things currently stand, JaidenAGK has stated he's not going to be making a return online for quite some time, if at all. Because in his exact words, he wants to hang out with his friends and spend time with them. But with that, let me get started with reading the script he was going to use in his video, if he ever made one, addressing 3 situations. The first one is Calspurk himself. So let's begin reading. So I've been called out as a Predator supporter for supporting Cal/MythiDust, who is exposed as a Predator. I knew that Cal was a Predator, but I was convinced by Cal that it's a false claim, and he had proof but never shared it. I have never seen DMs of Cal talking with minors. I've never took the document serious or put more thought into it because I didn't want to be involved in any potential drama, and that's why I took no side. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff while being busy in life. I had no control over my unstable and stressful mentality as I was suffering a burnout from Fanatas rebranded and AGK recapped. But that does not excuse my actions. I was convinced and dragged by force to stay with Cal and VCs, and since I can be quite depressing, stupid, and forgetful, I didn't care and stayed friends with Cal for longer. I was afraid to lose other friends who didn't know Cal was a questionable person, even though I hoped Cal was telling the truth. And in parentheses here it says, Cal obviously lied because he knew I was easy to manipulate. I was afraid nobody would trust me if I left, and that the others would stay with Cal. I did lie to the Fanatas dev team, and my server, that I quit talking to him because I didn't want to be dragged down by Cal or have any more drama in those spaces, and hoped that people would just forget about it. Little did I know I was being monitored on Cal's channel. When Cal noticed I was still hanging... Oh, fuck. I misspoke there. Apologies. When people noticed I was still hanging around with him, I was trying to spy and pretend to be Cal's friend at the time, and nobody knew about this. If one bad thing started, I would leave Cal for good. Sadly, it took more people for me to realize that I should have cut ties with Cal sooner. I totally forgot that I've had multiple chances to let go of Cal, explaining that during all his busy life... You know, I don't think English was his greatest suit. I totally forgot that I've had multiple chances to let go of Cal, explaining his side during all my busy life problems and focus. I tend to forget past stuff, is what I think it was meant to say. But word for word verbatim is, I totally forgot that I've had multiple chances to let go of Cal, explaining that during all his busy life problems and focus, he tends to forget past stuff. So I think it was meant to be more of a first person ordeal there. I'll get to further explanation after we read the first situation in its entirety. Continuing on, though, I feel bad for ghosting and leaving the team behind many times because I was dealing with Cal dragging me back into VCs, giving me no time to get things in order. I feel bad for lying to people, my closest friends, and my own fans, even just for an easy escape to end the Cal stuff. I tend to give up and quit things mentally to escape tougher situations I'm unable to deal with. I didn't want to suffer more pain and worries as I've been through enough. Now, all I will say is that aside from Jaiden finally cutting Calsberg off in its entirety, he has no mutual servers and he has unfriended him and blocked him from what I've seen. Because he did end up calling me screen sharing that, hey, I've blocked him, no mutual servers, I'm done with him. So good on him for completely cutting ties with Cal. I do think that he could have done it much sooner to prevent this whole thing from sparking up and causing more than he needed. So there is that. But other than that, he did a good job by at least acknowledging that he should have done more, that he shouldn't have lied, that he should have gotten rid of Cal sooner. He did good by admitting his faults there. I will state that Cal has been known to manipulate multiple people to sticking around. I won't list names for their safety, as I would rather them not be harassed. Let's go into situation 2, as this is where it starts talking about something regarding his server from the looks of things. Situation 2. I made so on the text file it says I made Cyberpunk in Fetish NSFW in my own server. I would rather not associate Cyberpunk with that, so I will just say it how I'm seeing it. So I made child material and Fetish NSFW in my own server. Now, I know Jaiden for the most part. Jaiden does not like kids in that way, as far as I'm aware. But let's see what this has to say. I'm an adult, and I would make NSFW things when I would get depressed, bored, or I would just do it for fun. However, I know I was way more cringe back then and made some terrible, disgusting fetish art that was way worse back in 2015, which I did remove and I've apologized for. But I know actions speak louder than words. I've explained that I was going through a tough, hard life, but I know this doesn't excuse what I've done in the past. People also knew that I made a DeviantArt account. It says DeviantArt art account, so I'm just going to say DeviantArt account, where I've posted a few Fanatas artworks, then I left it unused until 2024, where I began archiving a bunch of character sprites throughout the years. Until people began noticing there was also not safe for work art added of my characters being mostly naked or with fetish clothes on like latex. I admit, and I didn't disavow about my obsession with women in latex. Compared to interests I've had the displeasure of seeing due to Calsberg / MythiDust, my interest in latex is quite tame. There was also the Discord server where there was a not safe for work channel added under the application's 18 plus restriction, where people have to have their account marked as 18 plus and request the role. This is something I didn't realize literally anyone could have access to if they faked their age and even got away with getting the NSFW role to enter the domain behind closed doors. The domain was a nightmare for some because I would be okay with my characters that are legal to be NSFW trashed. Even I joined the party. Along the way, I got really depressed and decided to share my old NSFW artwork from the Google Plus days in there. There was one included of Leopold and Haruhi. I don't know how to pronounce that name. These names are complex. During my depression in 2023, I've made a crude and quote-unquote funny art piece of Leopold and Isabella about to have intercourse, where Isabella shouts to, quote, give her more recaps, and Leopold follows to give her more recap. It was meant to be a joke while showing that I want to pump out more recapped episodes, but I took the joke too far. The caption underneath made it worse, as it seemed that I said something a Lolicon defender would say, which was that, quote, Leopold is 18 in recapped, end quote, and that it was okay. It doesn't matter how you word it, since Leopold is still a kid in that sprite, and the only way to do it right is to use how Norman looks currently, like an adult. I put the wrong message out there for years to come, as it remained behind closed doors to be discovered one day. And it did eventually get discovered by someone who was also in the Fanatas server after I banned Fanatas from my server, probably due to being so sensitive to its fame and pain it brought on me. I've had a dark history with Fanatas that I'll never forget easily. Because of the discovery of my art, people have been calling me out and that Leopold is still a kid even if his back is shown, and it's not clear to see what it is. The image itself isn't even professionally detailed, but done more like a crude Photoshop image. Many, including Fanatas and AGK fans, have said that this is child material, and therefore I'm considered to be a suspect for being a predator. All I will say is that I should not have... correction. I did not see the not. All I will say is that I should have done better to inform people of the differences between Fanatas and AGK, which would include character ages, and I apologize for not providing further clarification sooner. I admit that this was a crude mistake and that I meant no harmful activity to damage my trust, and I even tried to state in my original apology that I've found the caption dumb, while I gave it a little bit more clarification. However, I do agree that the apology I gave out that time was weak and very quickly written due to the final line, reading that if we can move on with our lives again. I was in such a hurry to write this as soon as possible because I was also working on the next episode of Recapped. Apologies for dying. I am very sick. My native vocabulary was very fast typed and misread that it sounded like I defended the picture instead. A picture made 3 years ago, mind you. I don't want to give any excuses of, oh yeah, it's because I have autism, or oh yeah, I have a screw loose, or whatever. No. I admit what I did was not good, and most likely hurt my reputation regardless of what I could say about it. I will take this and any future mistake as a direct learning lesson since I cannot guarantee I won't make another mistake. And in parentheses here it states, we are human and bound to make them. However, since my brain was a bit foggy and messed up that so many people had to DM me about the incident, causing me to not focus on anything I was doing, which was making a video and still playing through Silksong, I will admit I may have overreacted due to the amount of messages I had from one server to the other. People saying their last punishing words to me in my own server did not help my mental state or the situation itself. This resulted in me crashing out and attempting a career suicide on everything I had built up, without any thought. With the actions made, everyone got tired of me and decided to rebel and make sure that I would suffer the same consequences of pain as revenge for treating all of my fans like trash in the past and betraying everyone. It says in the script that he was going to make for the video, treating all my fans like shit, but trash just sounds more appropriate for him. When I get overwhelmed, I tend to make mistakes, and I regret not having better methods to ground myself. Yeah, that's what it reads. I just read that correctly. After everything, it felt like everyone was completely done with me, and I had no choice but to take away Fanatas one last time. My anger with Cal was additional fuel to that fire, which I could have easily just removed Cal from the game or replaced him. Had I acknowledged my mistakes from the start, things would have been less problematic, but I didn't, and I'm sorry about that. All I will say is that I am not a predator. I am human and I make mistakes. I have cut my ties to Calsberg/MythiDust and am disgusted with his actions. I have better company I am around, and I have been getting therapy for my mental health. He did acknowledge that he should have clarified that in one this character was an adult, and in the other they were a child. Which, I mean, to be fair, we have things like DC, which has fucking Shazam being a literal child turning into an adult. And you don't want to look up any sort of ordeal with fucking Shazam, considering I don't think anyone wants to be put on a watch list. I know I don't want to be put on a fucking watch list. So, at the end, he acknowledged that he's not a predator, that he's a human, makes mistakes, and that he at least cut ties with Calsberg/MythiDust and was disgusted with his actions. So, we can at least have some sort of good faith in him for getting rid of a predator, cutting ties with said predator. However, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, no, what he did was okay. No. He should have clarified sooner for the character. He should have gotten rid of his predator sooner. He should have done things at a more appropriate time. But considering the fact that his reputation is now damaged, if not out the fucking window, he's at least trying to make up for not doing it sooner, from what I'm seeing here. Which, I can at least say that he's acknowledging his flaws and that he's trying to work on it. But I will leave your opinions of JaidenAGK in my comments, so that way you can more or less say how you feel about it. And now we go to situation number 3. According to previous Fanatas devs, they found not safe for work in the source files of the Fanatas games and told it to the fanbase, as they all had a sensitive mindset thinking I'm a sexual deviant, even though I mean no harm and that this is just my own trashy mindset of messing with my own source. Oh. Okay, this ought to be an interesting ordeal here. So, let's read this. All these situations have been clashing against me, resulting in me getting more stressed and mentally broken to crash out on Game Jolt for ruining my life. I had no time to make a decent apology or anything to address the situation clearer. It wasn't until the voice actress of Mally herself, Yuna, came forward that ended my entire career by saying that I knew about everything but decided to not give a fuck about it and still hang around Cal, despite telling my fans Cal is gone from Fanatas. Milky, Manny, Mateo, and Ray have since then dubbed me a predator and a filthy liar. The Fanatas fan base finds my behavior and actions quite absurdly disturbing and disgusting. I'm willing to change, but I need a lot of time to heal and think the entire situation through. I feel like this won't save my career anymore, and that forgiveness is futile and a redemption arc seems unforgiving. No matter how big the damages are, no matter if it's less problematic than other creators that got to deal with a lot more questionable stuff, I'm not going to compare myself to anyone. Everyone has their own problems and things they deal with, including me. As I said before, I still take the guilt of my actions as a learning lesson, and that I will try to seek help and understand the reason of these things happening. Even if they happen from time to time, it is not good that this has all happened out of nowhere. I will say though that things were taken maybe a little too far than it should have been. I'm currently getting therapy to help my struggles. Fuck, I had something in my throat there. I'm currently getting therapy to help my struggles with my life decisions as I go through as an adult. It's not easy, especially for me. Even if I am diagnosed with a disability called PDD-NOS, which is now part of the autism spectrum scale. It's not an excuse, and I won't use it against this. I don't encourage any of you to forgive me, but I would appreciate you to think about the whole situation and see why I did all of this instead. I know that not everyone is going to forgive me, and that's okay. No matter what has happened, the damage is done, and not everything can all be fixed. This likely means I will not fully come back instantly or anything. I will take an indefinite hiatus where I will mentally recover from all of this. Okay, so regarding this last situation here, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, no, he should have fucking not had NSFW in this one. I can't. I'm not a game developer. I don't know the kind of ordeals you have to go through, the pain and suffering that comes with making a game. So I can't say for certain if he's in the right or wrong on that. What I will say is if your community is more within a childlike audience, you shouldn't have not safe for work imagery within your games. It's just logical. But at the very least, he's... Hey. At the very least, he is willing to change and be a better person at the end of the day. But anyways, fucking Jaiden's currently hanging out with some better people for his mental health. I can confirm this, as he's been hanging around in a group chat that was made where I can monitor him and others that have been affected by Calsperk/MythiDust. Not to mention that fucking Mally, the voice actor for Mally, Yuna, let's talk about that for a quick moment, because I would like to personally address this. So, Yuna has her own bullshit, as I will put it. So, as I imagine most people within the Fanatas or AGK communities know, the voice actor of Mally, known as Yuna or fucking Porcelain Dolly, or a bunch of other names, has previously been in a relationship with Calspert, otherwise known as MythiDust, or Callum Anthony Hobson. Well, a lot of the mannerisms and things that he's done throughout the years, with the exception of touching children as far as I'm concerned, those stuck with Yuna. So she is just as manipulative and just as much of a pain in the ass as Calspert / MythiDust. And there's not immediate evidence that I can give of this, considering there was an ordeal that happened within a server I'm in, where her now ex Ironhead official and her had a whole ordeal, and she herself, Yuna herself, was causing problems for everyone else. It was a whole mess, and while I do hope that Yuna decides to actually get fucking help, like she's been told by multiple people, I don't expect her to, because she's just repeated the same pattern as Calspert. But who knows, maybe she will prove me wrong. Only time will tell. Anyways, that's all I really gotta say regarding fucking JaidenAGK. Calspert has since archived his channel and fucking gone more or less off the grid. He's left servers that were previously associated with him. He's been removed as a friend by a lot of people, and I don't really know much else other than that. But things are starting to actually unfold for once. God, I never thought I'd have to say that. And, yeah. So, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for having to deal with my fucked up TED Talk. And I will see all of you potentially next week when I pull up with a Sonic Rumble video. Take care, everyone. Genesis Silver out.